After his dominant victory over Errol Spence Jr., Terrence "Bud" Crawford has now a hardcore argument to be ranked as the #1 pound-for-pound boxer in the world. But Terrence just turned 36 and has admitted himself that he only has a few fights left. But waiting in the wings right behind him, the prodigy, we have Jaron "Boots" Ennis, the hard-punching switch hitter out of Philly. Now, a lot of comparisons have been made between Terrence "Bud" Crawford and Jaron "Boots" Ennis. They both have very similar styles. They both switch from southpaw to conventional at the drop of a dime throughout the fight. They're both slick boxers. They're both power punchers. So I wanted to break down clips and see what the real similarities are between Bud and Boots. I'm going to break down clips of each of them throwing power punches. Because when you do clips of them going light on the mitts or something like that, you don't get a real idea for what those shots look like when they're thrown with conviction. The first one we're going to look at is a clip of Bud hitting the focus bag. All right. So he comes out right on, right out, throws 2 shots, spins, throws 2 shots again, and now they tie up. So now they're tying up because they're simulating wrestling around in an actual fight, because that really takes a lot out of you when you wrestle around in an actual fight with somebody and you want to get prepared for that. There again, he's grabbing him again, his coach is grabbing Bud. This is really getting his strength ready for the actual fight in case his opponent tries to hold all the time. All right, so now Bud is throwing short uppercuts, spinning, throwing short hooks, again spinning, throwing short hooks. So Bud's standing conventional. Throws a 1-2 right there, throws another 1-2, hard left, another hard uppercut, short uppercut. He's doing a lot of spinning, and he's primarily standing conventional right now. All the shots are coming from a conventional stance with his left leg leading. There's a nice hard shot. Again, the wrestling, he's throwing tight, short uppercuts and tight little hooks. Bud is, again, hooks and spinning. So even though those punches might not look that hard, they're very short, and if you look at the bag, it's shaking the bag back. Really shaking that title bag and really shaking his coach's body. And his coach isn't a small dude. So there, Bud's still throwing more hooks, throwing more 1-2s. And then again, more wrestling here to build up the endurance and the strength. More tight uppercuts and more spinning. And again, there's a hard, snappy little left hook. And another punch. And again, they tie each other up. Now we're going to take a look at Jaron "Boots" Ennis also hitting the focus bag. So there's Boots. Ooh, throws some hard shots. Boots is standing in a southpaw stance now, the opposite with Bud. Now you see right off the jump, Boots is throwing his shots noticeably wider, but they sound like they're hitting with way more force. So to the naked eye, the shots look harder. Boots is throwing hard shots nonstop. He's whipping it. Boots' shots look more like a whip, whereas Terrence's look a little different. So there we go. So, and they're not doing any wrestling tactics. Boots is just throwing power shots while circling. He's throwing short little uppercuts there. So he's not really shaking his trainer's body as much, but the actual pad, you hear it snap when that punch lands, like a shotgun blast. There's Boots again, throwing more shots, throwing more uppercuts, throwing more overhand rights, more hooks. He's keeping his guard nice and high, nice and tight. And his trainer's just like following him. So they're simulating a fighter putting pressure on you, and Boots is throwing punches back at the fighter, letting a fighter think that he's pressuring you, but then he walks into something that he doesn't want to walk into. All right, so now they're going over, I guess, the mechanics of it. All right, now here we go. Boots again, lines up, hard hook, hard uppercut, hard hook, hard uppercut. Beautifully done. Another hard hook, and it really whipping those punches in. Very impressive to see, actually, and they sound and look very impressive. There he goes again. He's still standing southpaw. There, oh, nice hard hook again. So we haven't seen either guy switch, which is what they're known for. Looks like they're all working on one specific stance right now. There's Boots again, some waist movement, throwing hard shots. Again, oh, now we worked a little duck under with his coach, which is important. There, see, now the coach is showing him how to duck under. All right, now he's kind of just working on the mechanics of it. That happens. You don't always go full force when you hit the pads. You don't just go nonstop. You have to work on some technique. All right, so there he goes again. Throws a hard shot. Oh, now Boots just switched to conventional. You saw that? His left leg is leading forward. Now let's see the difference in the shots. Okay, so the shots actually don't look as hard as when he was southpaw. Oh, that was crisp. They're not as whippy. They're not as wide when he's conventional. It's interesting. The Boot throws a 1-2. 1-2 looks crisp though. So he seems to be throwing crisper shots conventionally and a little bit wider, harder shots as a southpaw. See? That was crisp. It was a little wide, but it was still crisp. Yeah, now that one seems a little wider. So it seems to have a little less power as a southpaw. Just a little less. Nothing crazy. There he goes again. He's throwing a lot of whipping shots. There, he just missed that last one. And okay, so that's the end of that. So that was interesting, seeing both guys throw power shots on the focus bag. Right off the jump, Bud throws a lot shorter shots, and the fight against Errol Spence, that was apparent. He was throwing short, tight little shots, boom, going from point A to point B in the shortest amount of time. Whereas Boots does a little more of a whip like this, and Bud's more like this. Boots' shots looked harder and sounded harder. However, if you look at the impact of the punch, Bud's seemed like they might have impacted more and did more when it lands. It did more kind of like rattling and pushing back. So they're not as similar as I thought they would be. You know, I know we just looked at them throwing punches. Defensively, they're very different. I think Jaron has a lot more of a kind of slick movement with his defense. Bud is a lot more efficient with his movements. He just moves when he has to, little here or there. So they are pretty different. But I guess to summarize it, I think that, you know, I can't really summarize it. I don't know who hits harder. One guy looks like he hits harder. The other guy sounds like he hits harder. Tell me in the comments, guys, who do you think punched harder? And did you see a difference in Boots when he switched from southpaw to conventional? Hit me in the comments.